name's Sue. I'm an artist and art tutor based in West Sussex in the UK, and today I am going through a quick tutorial that I have on my Patreon account. It's a 2-hour real-time tutorial where I show you all of the ways I use to draw somebody from observation, i.e. not using a grid, not using anything like the Loomis method, if you've heard me speak about that in the past. I'm just using the powers of observation alone. So for that, I use my pencil to capture measurements, for example, the width of an eye. You can use a pencil tip on one side of the eye, the corner, inner corner, and then your index finger on the outer corner, for example, and then you've got your eye width measurement, and you can use that, keep that there, keep your index finger there, and use it to judge how much distance there is between the eyes, whether the other eye is the same width, because depending on the angle that can change sometimes. You can use that same measurement to judge the length of the nose. You can use it to judge the distance between the nose and the mouth. So I like to use eyes, but you can use anything. You could use a nose width or a mouth width. Because I generally start off with the eyes, that's where I start. So I kind of radiate out. I've got a bit of an idea on the paper of how large I want to go, and then I add and then I make sure that I just do the eyes, and then I radiate out from the eyes, because all of that's going to help. That little gadget, that little clock face I'm using there, I use that. It's my own little tool that I use to judge angles and things. So I've actually straightened him up here just for the purposes of the demonstration. It's quite hard to explain about angles, and for this demonstration I just wanted to have someone looking straight at me, and I wanted it to be David Attenborough because it was his 100th birthday earlier this month, and I thought that would be nice. But I am limited to the photos that you can use for various celebrities and things because they're all copyrighted. So this one is a common, I want to say, courtesy of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. I will put that in the description. But in the tutorial, you'll also get the reference photo. So you'll be able to follow along with the reference photo and with my tutorial at the same time. The angle checker that I was looking at basically came about because when I was talking to my students about how to judge angles, I use a clock face. So I think, right, the angle between the outer corner of the mouth and the nose is, 5 to the hour or 10 past. And that's how I judge angles. Find it much better than thinking about things in terms of degree. I mean, if you're a mathematical person, you might be able to think in terms of like the 360 degrees of a circle. But I find it much easier to think in terms of the clock face. Some of my students have struggled with the concept though. So I printed off some of these transparent clocks, and they've worked really well. A lot of my students have them in their pencil cases now, and they find them useful. And I find them useful for judging things like buildings as well, and the angle of roof lines, because it is hard to get angles right. Our brains do like to confuse things between like up and down and stuff. As I was doing this, I realised that as I was doing the video rather, I noticed that I have made his hairline too shallow. Can you see that on the left hand side? It's quite shallow. That's probably like 10 past the hour, whereas the hairline on the left hand side is maybe like 8 minutes past the hour or something like that. So I was drawing this flat because that's the only way that I can make my camera work and record well. But if you're doing this at home, I would very much suggest that you do it on an easel, because when you've got it upright, then you are not likely to get distortions because of the way that you're drawing. If you're drawing flat and you're drawing at an angle, your eyes are looking at the paper at an angle, then you are likely to get some distortions because of that. Now, I thought that I had it nailed, and I don't do that kind of thing anymore because I've been teaching for a long time and doing portraits for a long time. But as you can see, we are all fallible, and I pick up this error the following day. So when I do a portrait, I tend to put it up over next to the TV with a bit of masking tape, and I look at it throughout the evening, and then I think, and then it becomes a little bit more obvious what's not quite right, what I need to change. So the following day, when I came to do the video, I did amend David, and you'll see how I did that towards the end of this video. So the trick is not to get too attached to anything. So don't do the most perfect eye in the best amount of detail that you can, because if you need to rub it out later, it becomes, you know, it really destroys your confidence. It's really frustrating. So people will tend to leave things in the wrong place just because they don't want to move them. If you work across the portrait kind of equally at the same time, at least when you're mapping things out, then that's the best thing you can do, and stops you getting too attached to any particular area. Now you can see in terms of the shading, the white of the paper, if you look at the photo, the white of the paper is not, that's lighter than the lightest light on his face, isn't it? So when I was doing the shading, I basically kind of hatched. Hatching is kind of when you're going in exactly the same direction with your pencil, and I've got it quite shallow to the page, using the side of the graphite as much as I can and going as closely as I can to get a nice solid kind of block of graphite, and then you can blend it in later with some you've seen me using there a paper towel, and I did a few layers. So started off with the foundation, so I did the base layer first, then I needed to add some more shading around the outsides, and then I did maybe 3 layers of that, and now you can start adding the detail and the real darks. So to make your picture pop out, use the darkest darks, and you'll see that that's a great way of making sure, like you can see now how he's popping out compared to the right eye that's not done yet. The left eye really sticks out, doesn't it? And you can see from the photo there, it's really dark. You can't really see much in the way of details for his eye. So by going dark, as dark as in the photo, you don't have to start inventing things. And one of the issues that I have, a lot of people have, is when they start doing portraits, they don't go as dark as maybe they should. And so they have to lighten areas. But unless you become some kind of like specialist in facial anatomy, it will be very difficult to imagine what's there in the darks. Even AI struggles sometimes when you say, you know, ask it to lighten things up. So it's all, try and go as dark as the photo. You'll see as well, I think at some point it looks like I've using my phone to check for messages and things. I tend to show people how to do the to lengthen your screen time, because the screen display on a lot of phones turns off after 15 seconds or 30 seconds. And if you're working from your phone, it's immensely frustrating. And a lot of people don't realize that you can change it. So if you're one of those people, go into your settings and it's something like screen display and display time, and change it to something like 30 minutes or 10 minutes or something. Make sure you change it back, otherwise you'll kill your battery. Anyway, as you can see here, it's just a case of adding more darks, blending in things more, comparing your darks, like is, you know, this bit darker than that bit. So every time you come across something that's really dark, sort of check around the portrait to see what else is that dark, and that'll help you get things looking sort of proportionally with the correct values. And what else did I discuss in this tutorial? It's a real-time tutorial, so you can jump ahead, but I do talk a lot about how you can do, like, what checks to do, and it's something that I do. When I'm drawing these days, I don't tend to use a technique like the Loomis method. I talk about that, and I have done classes in the past about that, but I just tend to look from observation. So this is what I'm talking about the next day. I've amended his face a little bit. So I've corrected that error on the left-hand side, but there is still a little bit of pencil where I tried to rub it out. So I've got a kneadable rubber that I use for most of my rubbing out, but it doesn't always do the trick. So I decided that I'd put this background in, and that would basically cover that up, and I think it's done it quite nicely. So as I said, the real-time tutorial is available on my Patreon page. I'll put the link in the description. It's free for my art challenges and one-to-one coaching tiers, and it's £10 if you're not. As I say, I go through all of the techniques I use for when I'm going through my portraiture. Now, my David is not perfect. I can see a few little errors and things that I would change now, but I'm happy with him for a 2-hour little portrait tutorial describing things. I think he's worked out all right. So if you have a go, let me see. You can join my Facebook group, Sue Cooper's Art Club, and post your work there, and it's a nice little supportive community. Or if you're a Patreon member, put it up on the chat and I will be able to see, or the other Patreon members will be able to see too if you post it accordingly. So thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.